Act 1 of Mademoiselle De Belle by Alexandre Dumas. Translated by Francis N. Campbell, 1809 to 1893. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Dramatis Personae. 5 Gentlemen of the Court of Louis XV.
The Duc de Richelieu. Read by Thomas Peter.
The Duc de Mont, read by Craig Franklin.
The Chevalier d'Auvray, read by Kurt.
The Chevalier d'Aubigny, read by Jason in Panama.
Charmilac, read by Alan Mapstone.
The Abbé de Rozanne, read by Todd.
The Marchioness de Valcourt, read by Sonia.
Gabriella de Belle, read by Devora Allen.
Mariette, read by Lian Yao.
Footman, read by Roger Moline.
Servant, read by Owen Cook.
Narrator, read by Sandra Schmidt. The scene is in the palace of the Duke de Bourbon, at Chantilly, near Paris. Act 1, Scene 1. The Marchioness's dressing room. She is seated at her toilet.
Oh, go on to the signature. Not one of these letters but I know its contents by heart beforehand.
Your ladyship is vastly indifferent this morning.
Why, canst thou not see that all these professions of devoted love and eternal constancy are not half so much addressed to any poor personal merit of mine as to my supposed influence with his Grace the Duke of Bourbon, Prime Minister of his Majesty? Burn, child, burn, burn.
Mariette, reading.
Monsieur de Nossé,
Burn.
Monsieur de Duras,
Burn.
Monsieur d'Armand.
Burn, burn, burn.
Here's lots of love, all vanishing in smoke.
Nothing from Monsieur de Richelieu?
Nothing.
Hey-oh.
Really, madam, your ladyship must permit me to say that I feel quite anxious about you.
Anxious? And why, pray?
Why, to tell you the truth, madam, you appear to me threatened with a serious attachment.
What, to the Duc de Richelieu?
I'm in a fever about it. Take care, madam. People have died of love, I believe.
Pshaw.
Poor Mrs. Valence.
The upholsterer's wife. I believe that kind of people do die of that sort of things sometimes.
Well, if I were your ladyship, I'd take some care, however.
Pray, what makes thee suppose my case so dangerous?
All the symptoms, madam.
For instance?
Your ladyship's anxiety when Monsieur de Richelieu's letters don't arrive. Your indifference to whole heaps of other folks' epistles. A constancy of interest which, as far as I can observe, has lasted 3 whole weeks.
3 weeks, eh? Really, so long as that? I believe you have only been in my service so long.
Just so long, my lady, but that's a perfect lover's eternity. And I really think your ladyship's complaint has reached the highest pitch of danger. I only hope it ain't catching.
I could astonish thee much more were I to tell thee.
Oh, what, madam?
How inquisitive you are, child.
I hope your ladyship will excuse me, but it is so long since I've had the pleasure of being astonished at anything.
Enter a servant.
An ecclesiastic, the Abbé de Rozanne, desires to know when your ladyship would allow him an audience.
Hey!
The Abbé de Rozanne.
Oh, admit him instantly. And do you, Mariette, leave me for the present.
Exit Mariette.
How many years have passed since I have seen him? How full of strange events those years have been! And now I, who have struggled for so long unaided in this sea of difficulties, find at the very moment of utter discouragement the friend, the counsellor, the guide of my early youth.
Enter servant and Monsieur de Rosanne.
May an obscure and humble individual of my grave calling be permitted to trespass for a few moments, madam, upon your time and attention.
He does not know me. He actually does not know me.
I am aware that my dress and manner must form a strange and discordant contrast to those of your usual solicitors, madam, and that a poor country curate will, probably, commit more than one conventional sin while addressing the brilliant Marchioness de Valcourt, the presiding divinity of a gay court, the mistress of the Prime Minister of France.
No, no, no. Not from you that title, which, however, in your eyes alone, probably degrades me. Is it possible you have forgotten Elise de Varenne, your pupil at the convent of Saint-Cyr, in those happy, happy days when you were my confessor, and I had so little to confess?
Good heavens! Mademoiselle de Varennes, the Duke of Bourbon's niece!
Therefore most certainly not his mistress. Even so, my dear, dear abbé.
But how? When? Where?
Oh, sit down. Sit down and let me again pour my confession into your ear, and receive the consolation of your sympathy, the benefit of your advice. You remember that, just at the time when you were appointed to the distant mission,
whence I have only returned within these few days, after 10 years' absence from my native land,
I, a child of scarce 14 years, was betrothed to Monsieur de Fronsac, himself only 16, now the too notorious Duke de Richelieu. I returned after the ceremony to my convent, my husband to the superintendence of his tutor, under whose care he was to travel and finish his education till such time as we were considered old enough to fulfil the contract we had entered into.
'Tis a foolish custom, and has bred more mischief and misery than virtue or happiness, I fear. Go on, my dear daughter.
How the 4 years prescribed were spent by him I know not, but, alas, can well imagine. By me, father, they were spent in one blissful dream of the happiness that awaited me. The fair youthful face and form of my boy husband perpetually flitted before my fancy, and every day told me that time was but maturing his graces and perfecting his mind. So passed those 4 long years to me in joyful anticipation of my future fate. Judge, oh, judge of the bitterness of my disappointment, of the anguish, shame, and indignation I felt, when, within a week of the time appointed for the solemnization of our marriage, the realization of all those happy, happy visions—
Go on, my dear child.
No, at the bare recollection of the cruel insult, my emotion chokes me even now. Within a week, I say, of the day when my husband should have claimed me, I received from him this letter. Here it is. Oh, here it is. I have worn it like a hardening talisman against my heart from that moment, and I sometimes think it has turned my very heart to stone.
Rosanne reads,
Mademoiselle, a contract entered into when we were both of us children, and utterly unable to judge or choose for ourselves, cannot, I am persuaded, appear binding in the eyes of a person of the excellent judgment I am told you possess. It is therefore, I am sure, as much for your satisfaction as my own that I propose relieving you and myself from the absurd obligations which have been thrust upon us by others. A divorce will be easily and speedily obtained, and I flatter myself, mademoiselle, that this step will prove the sincerity with which I remain, your very obedient humble servant, Richelieu. Poor child! Poor child!
Your eyes are filled with tears. You feel this bitter blow, this withering mortification for me. Oh, but years have passed since then, and I have led such a life, and lived among such people, and seen such things, that my tears never come out of my heart now. And I laugh all day long at everything, for existence itself has become a jest and a mockery to me.
This is terrible indeed. But how came this divorce not to take place?
Because I fell mortally sick upon this very blow, and at one time of my illness was supposed dead. Monsieur de Richelieu was informed of the fortunate circumstance of my demise, and when I recovered, I hadn't the heart to have him undeceived. You see, my dear abbé, dying was more convenient even than divorcing, and saved a world of trouble.
And since then?
Since then, become of age, and inheriting an independent fortune, I determined to follow the course of this very man, my husband, for he is my husband still, and for now 6 years I have known all the details of a life whose reckless profligacy may have wearied heaven, but has not destroyed my love.
You love this man?
Alas, with all my soul! There is no transformation, no disguise, no assumption that I have not undergone to follow him in all the tortuous paths where he deigns to walk. Disgusted, indignant, heart-sick, spirit-weary, I have been ready to die with grief and shame at his proceedings. Nevertheless, sometimes I have been the means of healing those wounds he had inflicted. Sometimes I have interposed between his fatal arts and women about to fall victims to them. I have spared him some crimes. I have, as far as I could, atoned for those I could not prevent. I have done some good to him, for him. O father, I do not regret the agony I have suffered while thus struggling to reclaim my husband.
Bless you, my dear, dear child, and heaven will bless you, and will crown your efforts with success. But how, in the name of wonder, is it I find you here, in your uncle's palace, and, stranger than all, under the title of his mistress?
The singular life I was leading, the profuseness of my expenditure, my isolated position, and some poor remains of personal beauty, which all this sorrow had not destroyed, made me soon an object of curiosity and observation. I found my situation become every day more difficult and dangerous, and at length I had recourse to my uncle, who, in common with the world and my most affectionate husband, believed me dead.
I see. He received you and kept your secret.
Exactly. But the world not being prone to give men and women credit for perfectly disinterested friendship, and Paris being especially little favourable to platonic attachments, the natural inference became that I was the Duke's mistress.
The name you have assumed?
Oh, yes, I know. Might belong to anybody or anything. Valcourt, Bellecourt, to be sure, may stand for anything one pleases. But pray remember, Monsieur l'Abbé, that it is the very few people's business, and nobody's interest here, to trouble their heads about my calling.
I am sorry you should have lent yourself to a situation involving such a scandal, nevertheless.
Scandal, my dear abbé! To be sure, you have been 10 years in the colonies, and may be pardoned your innocence. Why, I am considered the most virtuous, as well as the most charming of women, my supposed protector being prime minister. I assure you, not only all the nobles of the court, but all their wives are at my feet. And as for the churchmen, my levees are thronged with bishops, my assemblies with archbishops, and as for curé and abbé, I beg your pardon, my dear friend, They positively cost me a fortune in wax lights. They make my rooms so dark with their black livery, the only great thing about them, believe me. And, to be sure, they do all they can by the liveliness, not to say looseness, of their conversation, to atone for the gloominess and stiffness of their costume.
And Monsieur de Richelieu still suspects?
Nothing. He is become my most intimate friend, and now, nothing loath, brings me the confidence which formerly I was forced to surprise. 'Tis a curious position, let me tell you, that of a wife who is her husband's unknown confidant.
It seems strange to me that he has never addressed you as a lover.
Instinct, depend upon it. He would, I have no doubt, if I had not been his wife.
How have you the heart to jest?
I've positively no heart left for anything else. Besides, in the life I lead, and a short observation will convince you of the fact, laughing has often precisely the signification of tears and sighs. When one's tired of the one takes to the other, and it still means the same thing. And lips that have exhausted the relief of complaint will utter the pleasantest jests upon their own misery. It's only one way of easing one's heart, believe me, and the heart must be eased some way, you know, or break.
Enter a servant.
The Duc de Richelieu wishes to be permitted the honour of waiting upon her ladyship.
The Duc de Richelieu?
His Grace has only this moment arrived from Paris, and wishes to know if her ladyship is visible.
Oh, certainly. Admit him. Now, my dear Abbé, will you stay and see how admirably I carry on this sad farce?
No, indeed, for I am not as well bred as your ladyship, and would surely betray myself, or you, or both of us.
You have postponed your suit to the Duke de Bourbon's mistress, in listening to Elise de Varenne's story. Never mind. You are sure of my interest, and you have no idea how immense that is. Pray remain in the palace while you stay in Chantilly. I cannot afford to lose you again. It is too great a luxury to have a friend.
And I shall ever be yours most devotedly.
Exit. Enter the Duc de Richelieu.
How charming of you to receive me so kindly, even in my boots.
I am always charmed to see you, my dear Duke, whatever your costume. So you are just come from Paris?
I arrived 10 minutes ago. And what have you been doing here?
Ah, nothing worth being told. The Duke has hunted a good deal, and I have received petitions.
I envy the people that ask and receive favours from you.
Oh, my dear Duke, a truce. I thought it was agreed that there was to be no superfluous gallantry between us.
True, though I am sometimes vehemently tempted to break the compact and make violent love to you. You're such a capital friend that I verily believe I should lose by making you my mistress.
Your friend you certainly would. That's the common course of things, you know.
I thought D'Auvray was at Chantilly.
So he is.
I wonder what brings him here. Is he come officially, as lieutenant of my lords marshals, to balk some duel?
Not that I am aware of.
Did he come alone?
Dormont came with him.
No, really. The dear Dormont. Uncombed and unshaved as usual, I suppose. Upon my soul, he is the slovenliest nobleman in France.
So Paris would not let you go, and the 5 days for which you went grew into a whole week.
Well, and was not a week little enough to pay my court to our young king after my 2 years' dreary exile at Vienna?
Oh, yes. And then, you know, you had to see Madame de Villars, Madame de Duras, Madame de Villeroy, Madame de Sabran, Madame de Mouchy, Mademoiselle de Charolais, Madame de Soubise, Madame de...
Upon my life, it's true. I didn't think there were so many. But as so many duties compel me to remain, I do not doubt that if anything of importance took place here, you would be good enough to write me a line. By the by, do you never write to anybody? It's curious enough that, in spite of our delightful intimacy, I haven't a line of your handwriting. I don't even know it by sight.
That's rather an unadvised speech for a diplomatist, my lord. Can the favourite of a prime minister indulge in an intimate correspondence, especially with such a one as Monsieur de Richelieu? Handwriting is a dangerous thing in your grace's possession sometimes, we know.
And how goes it with your faithful adorer, Dalmont?
Indeed, I don't know whether it's love of me, but he certainly is half crazy.
Oh, my dear lady, you wrong him by half. But pray tell me, who is the young officer on guard downstairs this morning? A protégé of your ladyship's?
Of mine, sir?
Ah, don't look cross. I didn't mean to be rude or inquisitive, you know. Only, he's a devilish handsome fellow, that's all.
I believe he has lately been promoted through the interest of the Duke de Bourbon.
What's his name?
d'Aubigny, I believe.
D'Aubigny. Good name. Good family. People from Brittany, I think. Oh, but by the by, my dear, delightful Marchioness, talking of Brittany, I'm distractedly in love.
Indeed? What, again? Since when?
Oh, since the day before yesterday. Now, just imagine the loveliest creature.
It isn't absolutely necessary that I should hear her personal description, is it, my lord?
Oh, no, not if it bores you. Well, however, she's from Brittany.
And you met her?
First at the Archbishop's, then at the King's Assembly.
Oh, I see. Some new lavalière.
Not a bit of it. You're quite mistaken. A gentlewoman of high family who has come to Paris to solicit the freedom of her father and brothers, who are prisoners in the Bastille. The Archbishop referred her to the King, and the King referred her to the Duke de Bourbon, so that she came here this very morning, an hour before I myself arrived.
She is here?
Yes. Isn't it charming?
Oh, very. But what is to be the result of all this?
'Pon my soul, that's more than I can tell. But I've a notion it may turn out pleasantly.
You have forgotten one thing, however, the name of your fair petitioner.
Mademoiselle De Belle.
What? The granddaughter of Fouquet?
The very same.
But the father is compromised in that Leblanc business, and the sons are accused of assassination.
Lord bless us, yes. I know those things are said about people in order to get them into the Bastille. The accusations are even believed as long as they are out of it, and when they are fairly trapped, they are left there, and the whole business is not only disbelieved, but never thought about by anyone again. I'll tell you what, my dear Marchioness, I don't know whether it is because I have twice been in the Bastille myself, but I really have a most sincere commiseration for those people who are sent there, particularly the second time.
Enter a servant.
Mademoiselle De Belle.
Why do you announce visitors without knowing whether I choose to receive anyone?
Her ladyship had said this morning that...
Oh, yes, but I did not wish to see everybody that came.
Now, my dear Marchioness, I beseech you.
Oh, certainly, I can refuse your grace nothing. Admit the lady.
You're a perfect angel.
My part in this business is a charming one, I must say.
Mademoiselle De Belle.
Enter Mademoiselle de Belle.
Madame.
Pray approach, mademoiselle.
How kind of you, madame, to receive me thus upon my first presenting myself at your door.
I do not deserve your acknowledgments, mademoiselle. They are due to his Grace the Duke de Richelieu.
The Duke de Richelieu?
He assured me that the business upon which you came was most pressing, and could not be postponed.
1,000 thanks, then, first to his Grace. I had already been fortunate enough to find him on my way to Versailles, whose gates were opened to me by his influence. It seems that he is still my good angel at Chantilly. But let me also thank you, madame, whose gracious reception augurs so well for my success.
You must now tell me in what I can be useful to you.
My name has informed you who I am, and this intrusion must explain how urgent is the favour I solicit. My father, madame, and my 2 brothers have now been prisoners 3 years in the Bastille. My father, the venerable head of a noble house, accused of fraud, embezzlement. My brothers, gentlemen and soldiers, implicated in a charge of murder. Oh, madame, you must see yourself at once that these things cannot be true, and yet for 3 long years have I remained alone to console and support my mother, vainly hoping that justice would at last be granted them. At length my mother died, and I found myself alone in the wide world. On one hand a prison, on the other a grave. Then, madame, I set forth alone to seek redress, under the safeguard of my misfortunes.
And what was your intention?
To see the Archbishop de Fréjus, to throw myself at the king's feet.
Well?
Well, madame, I have been denied redress alike by both. By the Archbishop, because he said political affairs in no way concerned him. By the king, who, engrossed by the pleasures of his age, is ignorant even of the existence of those who are persecuted in his name. At length I was sent hither, to present my petition to the Duke de Bourbon, and I determined to appeal to you, madame. Why? Because you are a woman, because, terrified at my lonely and unprotected position, a stranger at court, and unused to all its observances, trembling at every moment, lest I should commit some imprudence, or be guilty of some breach of etiquette, I felt as if I should be safe at once, could I but appeal to the feelings of a woman.
And you are very right, madam. Her ladyship will do everything in her power for you, I dare be sworn.
Servant, announcing,
His Grace the Duke d'Aumont, the Chevalier d'Auvray.
The devil take them both.
You see, madam, in spite of the interest which I cannot but feel for you, I am under the necessity of receiving company. Some other time we will resume this conversation.
Some other time? Oh, madame, shall I ever find you again thus gracious and condescending? Good heavens, I have yet so much to urge that would convince your mind and touch your heart. Who can assure me that I shall be permitted to see you even some other time, and that before tomorrow the persecutors of my wretched family may not have made me an enemy in her whom I implore today as my redeeming angel?
Really, I am very much embarrassed. I should be too happy to give you my undivided attention, but—
Well, my dear Marchioness, there is one way of arranging this business. Retire to your own apartment with Mademoiselle, and I will receive these gentlemen.
Your Grace is really too obliging. Pray do the honours for me, and do you, Mademoiselle, accompany me where we shall be uninterrupted.
Heaven surely inspired me when I sought you, madame, and heaven will reward you both, for my poor thanks are all I have to offer.
Exit with Madame de Valcourt.
Nothing can be better. I released the father and the brothers from the Bastille. As a good action is never unrewarded, I shall have my reward, or there's no such thing as justice extant. Show in the gentlemen.
They come in.
Good morning, Duke.
Good morning.
Ah, my dear Chevalier, I have not seen you, I think, since the day when the Count Emmanuel of Bavaria and myself were just going to cut each other's throats, and you interfered and arrested me. Yes, faith, arrested me, and by order of our lords marshals of France. Here's my hand. I owe you no grudge for it.
You're of a forgiving disposition.
and I can understand your owing me no grudge for saving you some ugly gash or other. But the question is whether we shall forgive you for being here, tete-a-tete for the last hour with a marchioness, while we are not admitted even to kiss the hem of her petticoat.
Pray, has she delegated her powers to you, and are you to treat with us instead of the fair lady?
Precisely. And I shall profit by my present dignity, and give you, Damon, a piece of advice.
Well, what is it?
No, my dear fellow, it pleased God to make you a nobleman of the first family. It pleased the king to create you duke and peer of the realm. The Duchess of Orleans got your ribbon for you. Your wife had you made captain in the guards. I installed you Knight of St. Louis, for by that same token I had to kiss you at that august ceremony. Now, seeing that so much has been done for you by others, do, my dear fellow, shave your chin, and do something for yourself.
What absurd stuff! This was the way we all wore our beards during the Regency, and it was thought charming then. We have not changed, but the women have got some new freak in their heads about us. The devil take all fashions! Everybody hasn't been blessed like you, with the faculty of conforming to every whim of the hour. Nobody but Fronsac could have become Richelieu. But I think even you will be puzzled to follow the prevailing fashion of the day, the improved morality of society, as our philosophers say.
Pray, my dear Dovray, are our ladies really become so terribly virtuous as I am told they are?
It's incredible, but a most melancholy truth. Formerly, as you know, the universal custom was that a woman had one confessor and 2 lovers at a time. Now, would you believe it, they've reversed the fashion, and they have only 1 lover and 2 chaplains. It's really a frightful state of society.
Come, nonsense. You always take gloomy views of things.
Upon my soul, it's true. He has it from the best authority, too. His own wife.
No, you mistake, Domon. I had it from yours.
Then it's sure to be true.
How unfortunate I am to be deprived of such authentic sources of information. Wretched widower.
You, a widower? Why, when were you married?
So long ago that I have almost forgotten it.
Where is your wife?
I don't exactly know. Sweet creature, lovely woman, died in her convent before we could even be divorced. It's a melancholy story. I'll tell it to you some other time.
Servant announcing
The Chevalier d'Aubigny.
Aha! My young officer come to pay his court to the fair Marchioness, too. Upon my word, he's a good-looking chap, and I suspect.
So, you see, that as far as you're concerned, the very occupation of your life's gone. The bread's taken out of your mouth, as one may say. And I heartily advise you to return to Vienna, for you may depend upon it, there's nothing to be done here.
Speak for yourselves, gentlemen.
Oh, we speak for all.
That's a point upon which I am not at all so certain.
Upon my soul, Richelieu, you have come back from Vienna a more impotent coxcomb than you went. The women there have actually wrought that miracle upon you. You'd better go back there. Believe me, the game's up here.
Enter Madame de Valcourt with Rosanne, followed by a servant carrying her mass-book.
1,000 pardons, gentlemen. I have been unexpectedly detained till now, and I really now must go to mass. Tomorrow we have a ball at the palace, and shall be happy to see you all.
Madame.
Madame de Valcourt to Richelieu.
Come back in an hour. I must speak with you.
I shall not fail.
And does not your ladyship intend receiving us tomorrow morning to console us in some degree for our ill fortune today?
Impossible, my dear Chevalier. I accompany the Duke to Paris tomorrow morning, and shall only return in time for the ball.
The Duc de Bourbon is invited to Rambouillet to join the king's hunt, I understand.
Oh, yes, he is in higher favour there than ever. The Archbishop's scale is light, and threatens to kick the beam, so that we are still King of France.
We kiss the hand of your Majesty.
Come, Monsieur l'Abbé, how do you think I carry it?
Most wonderfully.
They all kiss her hand, she curtsies, and goes out.
Now just look there. What were we telling you, Richelieu? There goes Madame de Valcourt to Mass, with her priest on one side and her prayer-book on the other. I declare the women are possessed with the devil of devotion.
In spite of which, come now, a wager.
What is it?
I'm in want of 1,000 louis. D'Aumont is too miserly to lend them. You are too prodigal to have them. Now, I'll win 500 from each of you in a fair wager.
With all my heart.
And mine.
You both insist that, during my absence, the women have all become furiously virtuous.
It is our sincere and very sad opinion.
Very well. Now mind, D'Aumont. Mind, D'Auvray. I bet, I, Duc de Richelieu, that I will obtain a private interview of the very first maid, wife or widow that we see, either here or as we leave the palace, and that within the next 24 hours.
Stop a bit. Let's be precise, if you please. A love meeting?
My dear fellow, I leave all other meetings to my men of business.
A rendezvous, then?
A rendezvous.
And where shall it take place?
Why, in the lady's chamber, if you like.
At what time?
Midnight, if that suits you.
And how shall the thing be proved?
Nothing easier in life. I'll throw a note out at the window myself to you.
Done.
Done.
Now you understand perfectly. A woman, the first maid, wife or widow that we see, either in the palace or as we leave it. Oh, on one condition, however. The lady must be handsome.
Oh, certainly.
Here, look, gentlemen. Here comes a woman through the gallery.
Mademoiselle De Belle passes through the back of the stage.
Mademoiselle De Belle.
Aha! This doesn't look so promising, eh, Richelieu?
I'm afraid you don't feel so sure of our money.
Gentlemen, I shall win it. Depend on't.
1,000 louis, then?
Daubigny, coming forward.
One moment, gentlemen. I'll hold the stakes, if you please.
You, sir?
With your Grace's permission.
And why, may one ask?
Because, gentlemen, I have a small interest in this wager too. In 3 days I was to marry that lady whom his Grace of Richelieu has undertaken to dishonour within the 24 hours.
End of the first act. Act 2 of Mademoiselle de Belle by Alexandre Dumas. Translated by Francis N. Campbell, 1809 to 1893. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Act 2, Scene 1. The same scene as in the first act. Enter Madame de Valcourt and Richelieu.
And you have laid such a wager.
Even so.
What madness!
I've no reputation for wisdom to lose.
Your wager's lost, depend upon it.
I have yet till tomorrow morning, At 11 o'clock. It's only now just 5 in the afternoon.
Who betted against you? Who held the stakes?
I'll tell you all that when I've won. Now you must keep your promise.
What promise?
To assist me in my undertaking.
Good heavens! But if I could have conceived... However...
Oh, no backing out. I depend upon you.
Well, you may do so.
It's very strange. You say that in such an odd sort of way.
Dear me, what sort of way? Of course I shall keep my word.
Well, good-bye. I'm off to reconnoitre my ground.
Where does she lodge?
At the Sun. A good house, kept by a worthy old rascal, whose forefathers have plundered ours time out of mind, and who now treads in his ancestors' steps most conscientiously. I can make him do anything I please.
You will be back soon, for the Duke de Bourbon has dispatches for you this morning.
Oh, yes. Besides, I must tell you how the affair prospers. Adieu.
Exit.
How the affair prospers! I'm glad his Grace has so fairly taken me into his alliance on this occasion, however. Depends upon me for assistance, too, as well as sympathy. At any rate, I can promise him quite as much of the one as the other.
Enter Monsieur de Rosanne.
Well, what do you think of this wager?
I am petrified at such cold-blooded profligacy. Doubtless, madam, you were unable to restrain your just indignation, and overwhelmed his Grace with merited reproaches.
So far from any such thing, my dear Abbé, I listened to him with the most cordial interest, and have, moreover, promised to assist him with all my power.
Some indirectness may be pardoned in so difficult a situation as yours. But then, of course, you will warn this interesting young lady?
No such thing. She is far too interesting, too innocent, too sacredly free from knowledge, or even suspicion of evil, to be shocked by any such revelations. No, she shall know none of the dangers that surround her, and yet she shall escape them all. Or wit, courage, and cunning shall have forsaken me forever. The Duke shall lose his wager, my dear Abbé, and that charming young creature shall never know of how vile an attempt she has been made the object. My spirit is roused alike by the difficulty of my enterprise and its interest. I promise you we shall obtain a glorious victory, and my scapegrace husband shall yet acknowledge that there are women in the world who are true to themselves and loyal to each other.
Mademoiselle De Belle.
Oh, most fortunate. Show her in.
I leave you, my dear madam. You wear an air of triumph already, that makes me almost sure of your success. Heaven grant our hopes their full accomplishment.
Exit. Enter Mademoiselle De Belle.
Come, my dear child.
Pardon this early intrusion, madame, but my anxiety is uncontrollable. Have you seen the Duke de Bourbon?
I have, but my application to him on your behalf was far from successful.
Oh, heavens!
The Duke is strongly prejudiced, I am sorry to say, against your family.
Unfortunate that I am! Oh, madame, would heaven but inspire me with the power of convincing you!
I am convinced, my dear, already, but that is not the question. Monsieur de Bourbon, you see— Stay a moment. An idea occurs to me. There is a person who has the greatest influence over him, who, if he would but take up your affair, I am sure would succeed in carrying it through triumphantly.
Oh, who? Where? How can I find this person? Tell me that I may fly.
Oh, you need not fly, child. He is here, at Chantilly. But, by the by, what am I thinking of? You know him. It is Monsieur de Richelieu.
Then indeed I am sure of success. His goodness to me at Versailles, and here, madame, this morning, if you remember the extreme kindness of his manner.
Oh, yes, I remember. Well, your best way will be to write to him.
How very fortunate! I have had the very same idea myself. You advise me to write to him, madame, and I have already done so.
Bless me! Have you sent the letter?
Oh, no, madame. I have brought it to you, to request you to look at it, to ask you whether you think it proper that I should solicit an interview with Monsieur de Richelieu.
Madame de Valcourt, aside.
Charming creature! I am half in love with my own rival.
Aloud?
Certainly, my dear child. The sacredness of your motive shields you from all ill interpretation.
I thought it might do so, madame.
Besides, you may, if you please, appoint him here, in this very apartment.
Oh, if you would but permit it! Where can I send to him? Oh, madame, how kind, how good, how considerate you are!
But bless me! How came I not to think of it before? How inconsiderate I have been! You are alone at Chantilly, I think you told me.
Alas, madame, quite alone.
Staying at an hotel alone? Why, my dear, that is in itself a most objectionable situation for a young woman of family. You cannot possibly stay alone in a hotel.
Alas, madame, I know nobody at Chantilly.
Forgetful, except myself. Now, when I undertake a business, my dear, it is my principle to see it through, and that successfully too. I have pledged myself to your cause, and I am determined to gain it for you. And, as the first step in the matter, we will besiege Monsieur de Bourbon. I will introduce the enemy into the citadel. You shall lodge here.
What have I done to deserve so much kindness? I who trembled at the bare thought of demanding your protection. But indeed, my dear madame, I cannot put you to so much inconvenience.
Inconvenience? Nonsense, child. You shall have these 2 rooms and a small library adjoining. I shall simply install myself in the suite of apartments beyond. That's all. And we shall be next door to each other, and excellent neighbours, I am sure.
Oh, madame, good heavens, if you could but know what balm your kindness pours into my heart! Oh, I feel so sure that if you but will it, all things will turn out fortunately for me.
I hope I have made a good beginning, and, when we are once fairly leagued, and side by side, it shall go hard, my fair petitioner, if we do not repair all past misfortunes, and prevent all future ones. But let us lose no time. Return to your hotel, and have all your things brought here immediately.
She rings. Mariette enters.
See if one of the carriages is ready. Go with mademoiselle to her lodging, and remain to assist her. In the meantime, my dear, I shall send your note to the Duke.
How can I thank you?
Attempts to kiss her hand.
Nonsense! What are you about?
Kisses her forehead.
You will find me here when you come back.
Exeunt Mademoiselle de Belle and Mariette.
Upon my word, I know nothing half so imprudent as a young girl's gratitude. By simply changing 2 words in this letter, Monsieur de Richelieu, with the excellent opinion he has of himself, would presently discover what certainly was never meant in it. My dear husband, you were gallantly complaining just now that you did not know my handwriting. So much the better, for we shall very probably have a long correspondence together, under cover of Mademoiselle de Belle. I shall go and rewrite this dangerous epistle forthwith.
Exit. Enter Richelieu.
My tavern-keeper is either stupid Or, what's worse, honest. I'm not sure that he understood me, or he is an accomplished assumer of innocence. If I only knew her room, there might be some condemned door. The greatest conveniences in life are those same condemned doors. By the by, I wonder if our gay Marchioness knows anything of the past behind the tapestry that Monsieur de Bourbon so ingeniously contrived for himself years ago in this very room. Let's see. The Marchioness is a very strange woman. Hereabouts, I think it was, and the acknowledged favourite of the Prime Minister, or hereabouts, and a woman of decided talent. She does not seem to take half the advantage of her admirable position that she might, and many women would. For instance, the secret door. Where the devil is it?
Enter Madame de Valcourt.
Ah, my dear Duke, what are you about with my poor old tapestry?
Richelieu, aside.
I wonder now if she does know the door. She looks so confoundedly unconscious.
Aloud?
Nothing, nothing. I was admiring this part of the work. Gobelin. Magnificent. But, my dear Marchioness, I am in high spirits.
Well, come, I will put you in still better humour. Mademoiselle de Belle has just left me. She had been looking everywhere for you, and, not finding you, requested me to give you this note.
Good gracious, you amaze me. What does she want?
I rather think an interview with you.
How very lucky. I was about to ask one with her.
You see, good fortune flies to meet you.
And to whom am I indebted for this happy chance?
Oh, to your own merit, of course, in the first place. Then I rather think she has been told that you had great influence with Monsieur de Bourbon, and she wants you to employ it in her behalf.
Too happy, upon my life, to do anything for her. And do you know, I have spoken to him about the business already, but I found him very ill-disposed about it.
Will you excuse me one moment? I am going to give this room up to a friend, and must have some measures taken about it.
Don't mind me, my dear Marchioness.
Exit Madame de Valcourt.
And now let's see what Mademoiselle de Belle has to say to me.
Reads,
Would his Grace the Duc de Richelieu have the condescension to bestow upon Mademoiselle de Belle, at his earliest convenience, the favour of a few moments' conversation? The favour will be mine. Mine, charming creature. Upon my soul, these rustic beauties have the loveliest simplicity of style. Mademoiselle de Belle ventures to hope that she has not reckoned in vain upon his Grace's kind protection, in return for which she promises him boundless gratitude. It's a bargain, my charming petitioner. You shall have my protection, and I your boundless gratitude. Let's see. Somehow this note is written in a remarkably clear and steady hand. There's something in Madame de Valcourt's manner, too, in all this business, which seems to me rather suspicious. Stop a bit, Richelieu, my friend. Don't be taken in if you can help it. The Marchioness gave me this note. Let us make sure that Mademoiselle de Belle really wrote it. Here she is. Why, damn it, the girl seized with a trembling at sight of me.
Enter Mademoiselle de Belle.
Pardon me, my Lord Duke, but I cannot command the emotion which your presence excites in me.
And how may I interpret this emotion, madam?
'Tis most natural, and easily to be accounted for, my lord. I cannot look upon you without thinking that you are perhaps the man destined to end all my misfortunes. Can it be chance alone that seems to have brought you back from Vienna, as it were, on purpose to assist me, first at Versailles, and now at Chantilly? The unfortunate are apt to be superstitious, my lord, and perhaps you yourself are not exempt from some slight belief in presentiments.
I believe in them firmly, and have done so, particularly for the last 3 days, and shall be cruelly disappointed if mine do not prove true.
The Marchioness was good enough, I believe, to deliver a note to your Grace.
Which she informed me was from you. I am infinitely obliged to Madame de Bellecourt, for of course she suggested to you the idea of applying to me.
No, my Lord Duke, I will be candid with you. I had thought of addressing your Grace before I spoke to her. You must blame yourself for my importunity. I could not believe that you would refuse to fulfil hopes which your own gracious condescension excited. Ah, my lord, you are all-powerful here. You know the object of my entreaties. The freedom of my father and my brothers. The salvation of a noble family is in your hands.
No exertion shall be wanting on my part, believe it, madam, in order that your filial devotion may find its just reward. But you mistake. I am not all-powerful here, and what you demand depends upon a higher will than mine. I can but be the mediator between beauty and power. But give me a written memorial of your petition. Write it yourself, even as you speak, with the same enchanting eloquence of feeling, the same irresistible soul, and I will present it myself to the Duc de Bourbon this very day.
Enter footman.
The dispatches which his Grace was waiting for are ready.
1,000 pardons. I must leave you for an instant. Here is everything necessary for writing. Sit down and draw up your petition. In 3 minutes I will return for it.
How shall I ever thank you as I ought?
By allowing me the title of your friend.
Oh, my Lord Duke.
Right, my dear madam, right. The devil's in it if I don't find out so, whether she wrote that note or not.
Exeunt Duke and footman.
Good heavens, how deceived have I been in my notion of the court! How was I warned that I should meet with nothing but envy, malice, and wickedness? I have only yet applied to 2 persons, and one is as a dear friend, and the other as a brother to me.
Enter Madame de Valcourt.
What are you doing, child?
Oh, is it you? You see, I am making out a memorial to the Prime Minister, by the direction of Monsieur de Richelieu, who is coming back for it immediately, and has undertaken to present it himself.
Madame de Valcourt, aside.
Oh, he suspects something, I see.
Aloud.
Let me see, my dear, how you set about it. Oh, this will never do. There are certain forms of expression usual in these sort of petitions. Here, get up. I'll do it for you.
Are you not afraid, madame, that the Duc de Bourbon may recognize your hand?
Well, child, suppose he does. Do you think that is likely to injure your cause? Come, give me a place. Now, what are your father's names?
Charles Louis Auguste de Fouquet.
His titles?
Duke of Gisors, Marquis of Belle-Île, Earl Vernon and Andely.
What is your brother's rank?
One is captain, and the other lieutenant in the king's service.
How long have they been in confinement?
My father for 3 years, my brothers for the last 15 months.
Very good. We will set all these poor prisoners free, depend upon it.
Oh, madame, God grant you may speak true.
Now, my dear, there is your petition, properly drawn up.
Enter Mariette.
Mademoiselle de Belle-Île's bedchamber is entirely ready, madam, whenever she chooses to take possession of it.
Very well.
Exit. Enter Richelieu. He stops at the door.
Together. Huh.
The Duke
Sits down and reads.
1,000 pardons. I am afraid I have kept you waiting.
No excuses, my lord, pray. The petition is but this moment finished, and now if you will take charge of it.
Certainly.
Aside, looking at it.
The same handwriting. The note was from her.
Aloud.
I hope, madam, you will permit me to come and inform you today of the success our petition meets with.
You must ask the Marchioness, sir. It is her permission you must obtain, since she has been good enough to give me a lodging in the palace as long as I remain in Chantilly. She actually has had the goodness to give up her own apartment to me.
Ah, really? Indeed. So, Marchioness, the friend you were expecting
was Mademoiselle de Belle, my dear Duke. You must perceive, I am sure, at once yourself how extremely improper and even imprudent it was for a young lady in her position, alone and unprotected, to remain at a hotel.
Oh, certainly, certainly. And you were quite right, my dear lady, and it really is very kind and considerate of you. But I hope I may be permitted, nevertheless, to inform Mademoiselle De Belle of the fate of my attempts in her favour.
Bless me, of course. She is at home here, and I hope will feel herself so, and receive you whenever she thinks proper.
Then, madam, I entreat that favour once more of you.
Come when you will, sir. Your grace will ever be looked for as a friend, and welcomed as a benefactor.
I may not be able to see the Duc de Bourbon till rather late.
I have watched through many a night of tears and terror. Believe me, it will cost me little to watch for once in hope and happy expectation.
This evening, then, madam, I shall wait upon you.
This evening, sir, I shall look for you most anxiously.
It is possible that what I may have to repeat to you would be better confided to yourself alone.
My Lord Duke, I will take care to be alone.
You are too charming.
Mademoiselle de Belle goes into the bedroom. Madame de Valcourt, aside.
I wonder how many wives would have sat quietly through such an assignation. I positively cannot but admire my own heroism and self-command. A modern fine lady is your only stoic.
So, Marchioness. This is the way you keep the promise you made me of remaining neuter in this business. You defeat my very first plan.
Oh, a plan founded on the rascality of a tavern-keeper. Fie! It really was too easy, and would have disgraced your generalship. Here, now, 'tis quite another matter. There can be neither surprise nor treachery, and your grace will be compelled to obtain, for it will be impossible to steal, the lady's favour. Nor have I the slightest doubt in the world of your obtaining it, my dear Duke.
Nor I, either, to tell you the truth, my dear Marchioness, provided only that your ladyship will fight fairly, as I do.
And pray, what do you demand as fair fighting of me?
That you will keep my secret, in the first place. That, at 10 o'clock, you will leave Mademoiselle de Belle, and that, in short, from 10 o'clock till midnight, Mademoiselle de Belle will be left entirely alone.
For me she most certainly will, for I am going to Paris this evening myself, and shall therefore be entirely out of the way of interfering with any of your plans. But I must now, if you please, state 2 conditions in this agreement.
Nothing can be fairer.
You will employ no servant of the palace in the business. You will have recourse to no drugs or opiates, as it is whispered you have done more than once on such occasions, my Lord Duke. And these points acceded to on your part, I leave your grace an open field, and my best wishes.
Aside.
For your defeat, which I will take care to make certain.
You have my word to all this, and I wish your ladyship a pleasant drive to court.
You still persist in your plan, then, though I have passed over to the enemy.
I think more desperate battles have been won.
And against better generals, no doubt.
By no means. I do not say that. For in you, my dear Marchioness, I am perfectly aware that I have to encounter youth combined with experience.
Madame de Valcourt, aside.
Oh, that would be bitter if it were true.
Aloud.
Farewell. Till tomorrow evening, then.
Madame de Valcourt curtsies to him and goes out.
She does not know of the secret door, that's quite clear, and I have nothing to do but rummage certain reminiscences to find my way to it once more. How droll now that a clever woman should live, as she has done, close to such an inestimable contrivance, and be none the better for it. The Marchioness is a handsome woman, a very handsome woman. In fact, the wager aside, she is a devilish deal better worth besieging than even this pretty girl. She pretends to be a prude, too, and that's always rare sport. Faith, I half think she must be something of the kind, never to have discovered this. Ha! Here it is, and no more fascinating than a few minutes' perseverance will suffice to make away with. Excellent, faith. And now, my two fair antagonists, I think your defeat was certainly laid down in your horoscope, for, upon my soul, I don't see how you can avoid it.
Exit. Enter Madame de Valcourt and Mademoiselle de Belle.
My dear child, I have been thinking very seriously of the tedious course of solicitation which I am afraid you will be compelled to resort to in this sad business.
Oh, madame, my patience shall be proof against everything.
Poor thing! How much this courageous resignation touches me! Is it long since you have seen your old father?
Alas, 3 years. Not once since he was thrown into prison.
3 years! And you have never demanded permission to be admitted to him?
Oh, madame, I have besought, entreated, supplicated in vain. In vain! Can you conceive such cruelty? To refuse a child admission to her wretched father's prison? All those whom I wearied with my prayers doubtless had no children, or they must have felt for me.
You would rejoice to see your father once again.
Oh, heavens!
And if anyone procured you that happiness, they might depend upon your secrecy?
Good God! What are you saying? What hope do you venture to suggest? What, I might behold my father once again, enter, when he least expected it, his prison door, at the very moment, perhaps, when he was thinking of me far away. I might throw myself in his arms, crying out, "Father, it is I! Dear, dear father, it is your child, your Gabrielle! Oh, speak, speak for pity's sake! On my knees I implore you, what shall I do to obtain this joy, this blessing?"
Madame de Valcourt, raising her.
Listen. Take heed that we are dealing now with matters of the utmost weight and danger. The governor of the Bastille is my devoted friend, and I can give you a letter for him.
A letter? Yes, yes, and with that letter?
You shall see your father again. It will take you less than 2 hours and a half to go to Paris. You will set off at 10, you will arrive at a little after midnight. You will remain till 3 in the morning with Monsieur de Belle, and you will be back here before anyone in the palace is stirring.
What? Today? Tonight? This very night? I shall see my father whom I have not seen for 3 whole years? Oh, heaven support me! I feel as if the sudden shock of happiness would drive me mad.
But now attend, and mark me, all this can only be on one most solemn condition. Remember what I am doing for you. I take upon myself to open to you a state prison, which uncloses its gates at the voice of the Prime Minister or the King's signet alone. I have done this for no human being but yourself. Monsieur de Bourbon must remain ignorant of it. Jealous as he is of his authority, he would never forgive my assumption of it in such a matter. Monsieur de Belle Isle's imprisonment is of the strictest, the severest kind. His liberty hereafter, perhaps his life, depends upon your secrecy.
Great God, his life?
Yes, his life. Therefore swear to me now that, as long as Monsieur de Bourbon remains Prime Minister, you will confide to no soul alive that you have seen your father, that you have this night even left the palace. Think, take time, reflect before you engage yourself.
Madame, I swear by everything most holy, by my father's life and by my own soul, that never while Monsieur de Bourbon remains Prime Minister shall any living creature know that I have seen my father or even left the palace this night.
Enough. Hold yourself ready to go at a moment's warning. I shall immediately order a carriage to be brought round for you, and at 6 o'clock in the morning you must be back by the little postern gate of the park.
How have I deserved this goodness?
I sincerely feel for you pity, and admire you, my dear child. In a few moments all will be prepared, and I will come myself for you.
Exit.
I shall see him again. Tonight, this very night, my father, my dear, dear father.
Servant announcing
Monsieur le Chevalier d'Aubigny.
D'Aubigny, and for the first time in my life I have a secret that I may not share with him. Show him in.
Enter d'Aubigny.
Dear Henry.
What good fortune has befallen you, Gabrielle? You look beaming with joy.
My heart is full of hope, Henry, for since my arrival here all things seem to combine to favour and forward my wishes. Oh, we shall save my father, we shall save my brothers, and the happiness of our love will be made perfect by their freedom. Thank heaven by your cheerfulness, instead of accusing it by your despondency. As for me, I can tell you no more, but I pray, I believe, and I hope.
'Tis sad that when you are so full of happy confidence I should be chilled with cold misgivings. You look at everything through the medium of hope, and I through that of fear. You speak of all these fortunate circumstances which you say impart this cheerful faith to you. In me they awaken nothing but suspicion and mistrust. You think them ordered by a beneficent Providence. I tremble lest they should be the result of evil human machinations. It may be morbid feeling, an infirmity. But, Gabrielle, 'tis an infirmity as painful and as pitiable, believe me, as a real misfortune.
Henry, you are ungrateful to Providence. Just now, too, above all.
And what has Providence done for you now, Gabrielle? Tell me that. God knows I desire nothing half so much as to hope. On whom do you place your dependence for happier days and brighter prospects?
On Madame de Valcourt in the first place, whose kindness and tenderness towards me are more those of a sister even than a friend. Why, you see yourself that she has not allowed me to remain at a hotel. A mother could hardly be more anxiously careful of her daughter.
I cannot help it, Gabrielle. These painful impressions are not always to be controlled even by reason. Have you mentioned our engagement to Madame de Valcourt?
No, is it not a secret?
True, true. But tell me, have you seen no one but the Marchioness today?
Oh, yes, Henry, I have. A person on whose influence I reckon even more than Madame de Valcourt.
May I know the name of this person?
Of course, that is no secret. 'Tis the Duc de Richelieu.
The Duc de Richelieu?
What is the matter? Good gracious!
The Duc de Richelieu! And so you have seen him today?
Why, he has hardly left the palace all day.
And what was he doing here, pray?
I believe he was engaged in particular business with Monsieur de Bourbon.
Are you to see him again?
Yes, I expect him to bring me some account of a measure he intended taking about my petition.
Gabrielle!
Heavens, you terrify me!
Do you know this man to whom you have ventured to address yourself?
I know him as everybody knows him. Who does not know the Duc de Richelieu?
And knowing him, can you hope that the protection he is now granting you is disinterested?
Henry, perhaps I am to blame, but I must confess I cannot thus see nothing but evil in what appears unmixed good. Monsieur de Richelieu has hitherto dealt by me as a sincere friend. Should he assume any other manner towards me, I presume that you have sufficient confidence in me to feel assured that, all-powerful as his Grace's interest is, I shall relinquish all claim to it from the moment that I perceive it might compromise my honour, or a name which I am about to exchange for yours.
Your innocence, Gabrielle, blinds you to this man's real character. The whitest virtue has been blackened but breathed on by his love. No fame survives unstained his contaminating touch. His evil determination once taken, he leaves no means unattempted to obtain his object, and some of the means that he has dared to use might have cost dear to men less powerful than that wicked man. Gabrielle, you see my agony. Have pity on me."
"What must I do? Speak, speak, Henry. Anything, everything you wish."
"Promise me not to receive the Duke here this evening."
"I promise you."
"Not to meet him anywhere else."
"I promise you."
"Gabrielle, I depend on your word."
"Henry, you are right to do so."
"If you were to break it, you do not know, you cannot conceive the misery that would fall upon us both."
"How?"
"I cannot explain myself, but you have promised me, you do promise me, that you will not see the Duc de Richelieu tonight, do you not?"
"I have promised it. I do promise it. Are you satisfied?"
"Yes."
"Then, Henry, leave me."
"So soon?"
"It is late."
"'Tis hardly 10 o'clock."
"I have some letters to write. I am weary, and besides, is it fitting for my sake that you should stay later here?"
"You were to have received the Duc de Richelieu if he had come."
"The Duc de Richelieu is a stranger, an indifferent person. I do not love the Duc de Richelieu, and I do love you, Henry."
"You love me, and you dismiss me thus, when without the slightest impropriety I might remain with you an hour yet?"
"An hour? It's impossible, Henry. Leave me, I beseech you."
"You beseech me to go away. Good God! What is going on? What is the matter? What has happened?"
"Nothing is going on, nothing has happened, nothing is the matter. Is it then so very, very strange that after travelling all night, and a day of anxiety and fatigue, I should wish to take some repose? Can it be possible that you are jealous, Henry? Why, of whom? Of what? I never saw you thus before. There, it is actually striking 10 o'clock."
"I leave you, madame."
"Madame? Ah, that was cruel. You find me hopeful, happy, and as you are not used to see me thus, my unaccustomed cheerfulness alarms you, and you would fain make me sad again. Sad as you have always seen me. 'Tis easily done, believe me. One word, one tone from you, one look of doubt or of distress. See, Henry, I am as sad as you could wish to make me. Are you satisfied?"
"Pardon, Gabrielle, pardon. I love you so that I dare not believe my own happiness. I dread lest anything should come between us, should disunite us. Forgive me. I am going. I am wrong."
"Tomorrow, Henry."
"At what time tomorrow will you see me?"
"As early as you like. At 8 o'clock."
"Good night, good night. You will not see the Duke?"
"No, no. Go in peace."
"Farewell."
Exit.
He is gone at length. How hard to send him thus away without telling him what made me so happy. "Madame! Madame!"
Enter Madame de Valcourt.
Now then, here is the letter. The horses are too. The carriage is at the door.
"Which way must I go?"
Follow Mariette. Remember the most profound secrecy. And farewell, my dear child."
"Heaven bless and reward you."
Runs out.
'Tis something to have saved that gentle and innocent creature from even a knowledge of the foul machinations by which she was threatened. She is gone at length. 10:15. It was high time. I am sure my husband must be already on his way hither. Let us take all due precautions against his entrance.
Rings. A servant enters.
Fasten the shutters of that window. And yet he does not care for this girl. I know he does not. But, like a wanton child, seizing a butterfly and throwing it the next moment from him, maimed and defaced, he pursues this wager for the sole gratification of his senseless vanity, careless alike of her present feelings or her future fate.
To servant.
Do you see any one in the street?
Yes, my lady, a man wrapped in a cloak.
A cloak in June. It must be he. Fasten the window. Mademoiselle de Belle is very nervous. You will sit up all night in the ante-room, and you will admit nobody till tomorrow morning.
Servant goes out.
Very good. For further security, let us bolt the doors. There are the chimneys, to be sure, but they are grated at the top.
Servant, speaking through the door.
The Duc de Richelieu is coming up the great staircase, my lady.
Say that nobody is up.
Listening. Servant without.
Yes, your grace. Everybody is retired.
Excellent. He retires too. We shall no doubt soon hear something at that window. Now, my dear husband, I have kept faith with you, and you have nothing to complain of. I have not betrayed you to Mademoiselle de Belle. I left her at 10 o'clock, and from 10 o'clock till midnight she will most certainly be alone. On the king's highway, 'tis true, but then it is your business to follow and find her there. But hark! What noise was that from behind the tapestry? Footsteps! The opening of a door! Heavens! There is a secret entrance to the chamber, and he knows it.
Blows out the candles. Enter Richelieu.
When one door is shut in your face, the only way is to come in by some other.
Madame de Valcourt, aside.
Oh, what shall I do? What will become of me? If I call for help, the house will be roused. Was ever woman, was ever wife in so strange a position? I have but one course, to be silent. At least he is my husband.
What a capital thing is good memory. Faith, the private staircase and the secret door don't seem to have been much used lately. They're confoundedly dirty and out of repair. However, here we are, safe and sound. All is dark and still. Nothing could be better. I have taken the precaution of writing my note beforehand. As I came by, I passed a fellow wrapped in a cloak, lurking close under the wall. No doubt my friend d'Aubigny.
Clock strikes.
10:30. He is at his post, and I at mine. And now to fulfill the conditions of our wager.
Opens window softly.
Hello? You, sir, in the cloak there. Look ye. Have the kindness to step this way, if you please. There, that'll do. If you should happen to be acquainted with the Chevalier d'Aubigny, have the goodness to deliver this note to him from the Duc de Richelieu. There it is.
Throws note from window, and closes shutters.
I met the Marchioness's carriage on the way. She is off to Paris. Mademoiselle De Belle.
Act 3 of Mademoiselle de Belle by Alexandre Dumas, translated by Francis N. Campbell, 1809 to 1893. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Act 3, Scene 1. The same scene as in the previous acts. D'Aubigny and the footman.
But bless me, sir, 'tis only 7 o'clock, and not a soul in the house is up yet.
Never mind. I tell you, I will go in. I will speak to Mademoiselle de Belle as soon as she rises.
Footman goes out.
Can he be here still? I watched till daybreak, but I have not seen him come. Gracious God, it seems like all a dream, a hideous dream. But no, 'tis all but too true. Here is the very chamber where I left her yesterday, the window out of which he threw his infernal boast, the street where I received it. Merciful heavens! Can I believe my own senses? Gabrielle deceive me thus infamously! Oh, no, no, no! It must be impossible.
Enter Mademoiselle de Belle.
Dear Henry, I heard your voice and made haste to come to you.
So early up.
You said last night that you would come early.
True, but how comes it that last night you were so anxious to have me gone, and that this morning you are so eager to receive me?
So you have not forgotten that yet, Henry?
No, one cannot always banish painful impressions at will, and that idea has tormented me throughout the night.
Tormented you? What idea?
Oh, why, the recollection of that excessive fatigue of yours which made you so earnestly desire my absence.
You answer me very strangely this morning, Henry. You seem troubled, displeased. What is it, dearest? What ails you? Tell me.
Nothing, nothing. I cannot address the same remark to you. Your face wears an expression of joy, of happiness. Perhaps you have fresh reasons for hope this morning.
Oh, yes. If dreams may be supposed to augur anything, mine have presaged me happiness this night. I dreamt that a beneficent spirit bore me on his wings to the gates of the Bastille, which flew open before me. I beheld my father. He pressed me on his heart. He folded me in his arms. He rained kisses on my head. He spoke to me of you, dearest Henry, of our marriage, so long, so sadly deferred, and he comforted himself in his captivity with the thought that I should soon have in you a friend and a protector. Oh, you see, dear love, 'twas a wonderful dream, and one that even now, awake as I am, fills my mind with the happiest hopes.
I, too, had a dream last night, but a less happy one than yours, Gabrielle.
Is it that makes you so sad this morning?
Perhaps, for I dreamt that yesterday I had no sooner left you than, in spite of your solemn promise to me, you did receive the Duc de Richelieu here.
What do you mean?
Nothing. You have told me your dream, and I am telling you mine, that's all.
Well, what then?
It seemed to me, still in my dream, that I was standing in the street, opposite to that window, when the window was thrown open, and a man appeared on the balcony, and threw out to me a note. But stranger than all, and which causes my dream to leave even a deeper impression of reality than yours, perhaps, is that on waking, that note, that very note, was in my hand, Gabrielle, and here it is.
And here it is?
Read it.
Mademoiselle de Belle reads,
It is 11 at night. I am in Mademoiselle de Belle's apartment. I will tell you tomorrow at what hour I left it. Duc de Richelieu. What does that mean?
It means, madame, that Monsieur de Richelieu, yesterday morning, as you passed through the gallery, laid an infamous wager, which he has won.
I don't understand you.
Then I will make myself understood. You promised not to receive Monsieur de Richelieu. You did receive him. He came last night after I had left you. Monsieur de Richelieu was with you in this room. Monsieur de Richelieu opened that window, and out of that window threw this note. Now do you understand?
What are you talking about?
What you know quite as well as I do. Only what you did not know is that I was aware of all, that I was there under that window till break of day, waiting to see him come out, for your honour is yet too dear for me to leave such a secret in the possession of another man besides myself. Ah, that was why you were so agitated and confused yesterday evening. That was why you were so anxious, so earnest to have me gone. That was why you wished so very particularly to be left alone. Alone! I have passed the whole night wandering round the palace, for if I could but have found a door, a window open, any avenue that might have led to you, I would have murdered you both. Yes, both, you and your lover with you, though you had dragged yourself on your knees at my very feet for mercy.
You must be mad to utter such things to me. I received Monsieur de Richelieu after you had left me? Monsieur de Richelieu passed the night here. Why, can I believe my ears? My eyes? Are you the Chevalier d'Aubigny? Am I Mademoiselle De Belle? Is it you, Henry, who speak thus to me, your betrothed? To me, who in 3 days shall bear your name? I can't believe my senses.
I could not believe my senses. I thought my very eyes deceived me. Yes, Gabrielle, yes, such was my deep reliance on your truth, that I should have disbelieved my eyes, and doubted still. But this paper is no illusion. Gabrielle, how will you account for this?
What can I say to you? I can't account for it, even to myself. Someone must have entered this apartment without my knowing it.
Without your knowing it? A man can have entered this room without your hearing him. Which way? Who admitted him? The doors are carefully watched. Even now it was with difficulty that I obtained entrance. Oh, Gabrielle, Gabrielle, I will account for this. I will tell you what has happened. Your love for your father has made you forget your love for me. You saw before you 2 men, one of whom had in his power your father's liberty. The other had nothing but his own life to offer you. The man of influence sold his protection to you at a certain price.
Sir!
Gabrielle, I accuse you of nothing. You cannot be guilty. I only say that you did not dare refuse the Duke the meeting he solicited. I only say, that you did consent to receive him, perhaps, and in some moment, when you may have left the room, he wrote this note and threw it from the window. That's all, Gabrielle, that's all. Confess that. Say it was so. Say so. And I forgive you.
Thank you for that word, Henry. Thank you for these suggestions of your love, for I see that you love me so much that you are striving to deceive yourself. But I cannot confess what you require of me. If after the sacred promise that I gave you, I had consented to see Monsieur de Richelieu, I should be infamous. But believe me, he solicited no meeting. I granted him none. I have not seen him, I tell you so again, and I have the simplest means in my power of proving what I say.
What means?
This note is from the Duke, you say?
He threw it to me from the window himself.
I shall send immediately for Monsieur de Richelieu. You will conceal yourself there. I shall receive him here. You will not lose a single syllable of what passes between us, and if Monsieur de Richelieu has seen my face since yesterday evening at 8 o'clock, then, why then, Henry, you shall think of me as vilely as you please.
Oh, dearest, I had not dared to ask this much of you, but since you offer it, I accept the means of clearing up this infamous mystery, which baffles me.
Calm yourself. The mystery shall be cleared up, believe me. Only, Henry, remember, not a motion, not a word, that might betray your concealment.
Oh, fear me not.
Madman?
No, no, I am convinced. I do not doubt thee. No, 'tis impossible, with that angelic voice, those lovely eyes. No, no, you cannot tell a falsehood. I believe thee, dearest, dearest.
You will believe me better still when I shall have sent for the Duke.
Servant announces
the Duc de Richelieu.
'Tis heaven sends him at this moment. Show him in. And do you enter that chamber, and above all remember your promise, Henry, to be silent.
Your hand, Gabrielle.
My hand? You deserve—
Give me your hand.
He kisses her hand, and goes into her room. Richelieu enters.
You come upon a wish, my Lord Duke.
Hail to my fairest! I came indeed, but almost without a hope of being admitted thus early.
Sir, I was about to send for you.
Richelieu, attempting to kiss her hand.
Ah, you are too gracious.
My lord Duke.
Fair lady.
I have a most serious explanation to demand of you. An explanation, sir, in which my honour is deeply concerned.
Your honour, madam? And who dares attack it? I am here to defend both it and you. Speak, therefore, I entreat you.
The question is of a certain wager, which I understand your grace laid yesterday.
Bless me, madam, since the truth must be told. I own it. There was such a wager. But believe me, I was devoted to you long before any such question arose. From the first moment of beholding you, I felt that my heart was no longer my own. I followed you from Paris to Versailles, from Versailles to Chantilly. You alone drew me hither, I swear it. This wager was proposed to me by 2 other scapegraces like myself. You were not the object of it, believe me. Your name was not even uttered in the agreement. The first woman who passed was the person concerned in the bet. You were that person. My honour was engaged in the winning of my wager. It so happened that my love, too, was most deeply interested in its success. This, madam, is the truth. If I have sinned against you, believe me, the crime was not premeditated, and pardon me.
My lord Duke, I pardon you, hard though it be, and you yourself, I think, must acknowledge it to be so. When one has lost rank, station, fortune, when from the wreck of all one has rescued nothing but a stainless reputation, confess it, sir, 'tis a cruel thing to see that reputation, which should be respected as a holy possession, bandied from hand to hand by dissolute idlers, who, unable to attack it, dare thus attempt to trifle it away. Nevertheless, my lord Duke, in favour of all that you have done for me, though now I know the source of that kindness, which I had supposed disinterested, pure, and noble, I pardon you this cruel and insulting wager, but upon one condition, however, that you will explain to me how, last night, this note was thrown from that window between 10 and 11 o'clock. Read it, sir, read it.
That were useless. I know its contents.
You know them?
Why, is not the handwriting mine? If I were inclined to deny it, the signature is there at the bottom.
You wrote this note.
I acknowledge it.
You threw it from that window.
Even so.
And to whom?
My dear madam, how the deuce should I know? To the person who was waiting for it, I presume.
You were here last night, here in this chamber.
Most certainly.
But you were here without me?
What, without you?
Do you dare to say that you were here with me?
Why, most indubitably.
With me?
Of course.
My lord Duke, 'tis a lie.
A lie?
An infamous lie.
My dear madam, when a woman uses that sort of language to a man, he has nothing for it but to leave her presence.
You shall not stir, my lord. What, because your name is Richelieu, because you are a thrice noble duke and peer of the realm, do you think, sir, that it shall be permitted you for the sake of a pitiful wager, in which you fancy your honour compromised, to libel a woman, and when that woman has lost everything in this world but the love of an honest man whom she loves, to make her by your vile calumnies forfeit that best, most precious treasure? Sir, I appeal to your ancient name, to your noble station, to your honour, my lord Duke, which is disgracefully losing its way. I appeal to you, sir, and you will retract what you have said. You will do me right, you will bear witness to the truth. The truth! Yes, my lord, here before me, whom you have so deeply injured, and you will hesitate the less to do me this tardy justice, because I am but a poor, helpless, defenceless woman who claim it at your hands.
Upon my soul, you almost persuade me that I am in the wrong. I suppose I ought to have pretended to lose my wager. Come, what can I do? Shall I write to the Chevalier? I can tell him, you know, that I found the doors all shut here last night, and that therefore, of course, the note I threw out of the window means nothing at all. Shall I tell him that I have lost my bet? In short, what shall I do, say or write? For God forbid that my absurd vanity should be the means of breaking off a match on which you say your happiness depends. I would rather sacrifice my own. Certainly I owe you no less.
My lord Duke, the wickedness of what you are now saying passes all belief. 'Tis fiendish. No, sir, no, no, I ask no letter, I want no writing. What I demand, what I insist upon is, a confession now here, this very instant, that every word you have uttered hitherto is false, and that in uttering them you have despised truth, disregarded your name, and disgraced your honour. You shall confess, sir, that all you have said was a slander, a base, cowardly slander. I cannot stop to choose my words, I speak those that my indignation prompts me with. You shall confess this, sir, and though I dare not promise then that you will escape my contempt, you may at all events rest assured of my forgiveness.
Richelieu, whispering.
Now, why the devil couldn't you make me understand all this time that we were overheard, that someone was concealed?
No one is concealed, sir. No one overhears us. There is no one here but myself. Answer then to me, I demand it.
Then, if indeed no one is here but you, if indeed I am to reply to you alone, I will confess that I thought myself pretty well versed in the arts of your most subtle sex, instead of which I find myself a mere tyro in the science. Every day they teach me something new. To me, every day think I can learn nothing fresh upon that subject. Moreover, I must further confess that to you was reserved the honour of giving me the most complete lesson in this kind that I have yet received in all my life.
Enough, my lord Duke. Leave me.
I obey, madam. Not without a hope, however, that when I present myself again this evening, which I shall do at the same hour when you condescended to receive me yesterday, I may be more welcome than I have appeared this morning.
Exit.
Great God, is it possible?
Daubigny, coming from her room.
Well, madame.
Oh, oh, oh.
I have obeyed you. I concealed myself. I listened. I heard. And in spite of it all, I kept my word and did not appear. I hope you are satisfied.
Henry.
Daubigny, going.
Leave me.
Henry, hear me. Yes, you were right to fear and warn me yesterday. Yes, yes, your forebodings were all but too true. Yes, some fatality seems to conspire against us both. Both, for it strikes you as well as me, Henry. But oh, you shall not leave me thus. There is some horrible machination in all this. An invisible hatred, proceeding from I know not whence, seems to enfold and stifle me, Henry. It cannot be that at once suddenly my voice has lost its power over your heart. Henry, you cannot believe it possible that in 1 hour I have forgotten the principles of a whole life. Henry, it is impossible that in a single day I should have become lost and infamous. Good God, why, if someone were to come and swear to me that you had committed a crime or a cowardice, fled in battle or murdered in secret, no, Henry, I should not, I could not, I would not believe it.
To the purpose, madame. The Duke, it seems, was here last night.
I don't deny it.
From this room he passed into the next apartment.
He may have done so.
Oh, you confess it, do you, at last?
Yes, I confess that. But you do not know. You cannot know.
Then I must infer that you were not in this room. Then you passed the night elsewhere, it seems.
Henry, I have taken a terrible oath. I can tell you nothing. Henry, I have sworn.
Merciful heavens! Is there no one who, to save us both from madness, can relieve you from this cursed oath?
Yes, you are right. Heaven inspired you with the thought. Oh, yes, when she sees of what horror I am accused, she will surely let me tell you all, and then you will see, you will know.
Rings. Mariette enters.
Madame de Valcourt, the Marchioness, where is she? Pray inform her that I wish to speak with her instantly, and that I entreat her to come without a moment's delay. Go, go.
Her ladyship went to Paris this morning with the Duc de Bourbon, and will only return in time for the ball this evening.
Exit.
Why then, it is a fatality, a horrible fatality. Henry, wait till this evening. This evening you shall know all.
He's going. She stops him.
Henry, do not leave me. Henry, I swear to you.
You're right. It is a fatality. Yesterday at noon you leave your hotel to come and reside in the palace. Yesterday evening I came, and, for the first time, my presence disturbs and troubles you, and you desire me to leave you. You solemnly swear to me that you will not receive the Duke. As my feet leave the threshold, he enters your apartment. For the last hour you have been denying that he came at all, and now you confess not only that he came, but that it is possible that he may have remained here till 3 o'clock in the morning. You say you were not in this chamber, and you cannot tell me where you were. You are bound by an oath. You have sworn. A sacred pledge compels you to silence. One person, however, can remit this oath, one person only, and that person has left Chantilly. Oh, you are right, it is a fatality, no doubt, a strange fatality, so strange indeed that it passes all belief, and I declare to you, madame, that I do not believe it.
What can I say to you, Henry? Yes, every proof is against me. Yes, if my life were at stake, my life would be forfeited, as I fear my honour will. But were my head this moment on the block, I would not break my oath. You must act according to your conviction, Henry. Go. I detain you no longer.
Falls into a chair. Daubigny goes towards door.
Hear me, Gabrielle. I know that that man has mysterious and inscrutable means of accomplishing his vile purposes. Confess, then, he gave you some potion, some narcotic, some accursed poisoned draught. Confess it. He entered here while you were still under its influence, and you did not awake till too late. Say this, confess this, and my love for you shall be the same as ever, and you shall still be mine, mine when I have murdered that villain. Oh, Gabrielle, confess this, for even this is better. I can understand, I can believe, I can forgive this. But tell me no more of unaccountable absences and incredible oaths. Oh, heavens, see how I love you, see how I cling to my trust in you. The way I offer you is easy. I give you myself a ready excuse. If you have deceived me, if you are really guilty, take in pity, take advantage of the pretext my very love has given you. Say he resorted to stratagem, to violence. Say he alone is guilty. My vengeance shall fall on him alone. In the name of God, have mercy on me, and say something that I can believe, that I can imagine true, unless you would have me go mad, here at your feet, and die cursing you and heaven. In the name of God, upon my knees, Gabrielle, I implore you to speak. Speak! Have mercy on me! Speak!
I cannot utter an untruth, even for you, Henry. I have not seen the Duc de Richelieu since yesterday evening at 8 o'clock.
This is too much. And now my course is clear.
I implore you.
Leave me, madame. Leave me.
Henry! Henry, have mercy!
For the last time, will you confess the truth?
I have done so.
Then heaven may forgive you, but I never will.
Rushes out. Act 4 of Mademoiselle de Belle by Alexandre Dumas. Translated by Francis N. Campbell. 1809 to 1893. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Act 4, Scene 1. An apartment of state in the palace at Chantilly. Daumont, Dauvray, Chamillac, and other gentlemen at the gaming table on the right of the stage. 2 others playing at dice on the left. Madame de Valcourt and Richelieu walking about.
Upon my honour, I don't understand this business the least in the world myself. She maintained to me that she did not know what I meant, with a most miraculous assurance.
But how did you get into the room? Do explain that to me.
Excuse me, that is a useful secret. But you don't know the best of the story yet. The man who betted against me, who held the stakes, the Chevalier d'Aubigny,
Well?
was in 3 days to have married this very girl, this Gabrielle de Belle.
Good gracious, you don't say so. And how has he taken the business?
Why, I rather think, heroically and tragically to the last degree.
No, really?
Why, he has called upon me 3 times to-day, leaving his name each time, and the hour at which he called. Unluckily I was out hunting, where, by the by, I've done up a capital horse. But as I came home, and was informed of the trouble the Chevalier had taken in my behalf, I returned his civility, of course. It was decreed, however, that we were not to meet, for he was out when I called on him, so I left my card, and wait further measures from him. And what news did you bring us from Paris, my dear Marchioness?
None whatever. I hardly had time to alight before I came back again. The Duke de Bourbon arrived just in time to help the king into his carriage, and his Majesty, with more than his usual cordiality even, begged him not to be late at supper, because after supper he wished him to make one in his rubber. I think really we are in higher favour than ever.
Look sharp after our dear bishop, that's all. If a gust comes, it will be from his quarter. As for me, the last time I saw him he looked so devilish sweet upon me that I've been terrified at it ever since.
My dear Duke, you slander him. He's a worthy man who looks with indifference on earthly greatness, and only sighs for privacy and seclusion. Why, you surely have forgotten that, on the death of the regent, it was he who presented the Duke de Bourbon to the king.
Perhaps he thought, if he presented himself, the effect might not be altogether so good.
I think you are mistaken, for you see yourself that, at the slightest difficulty or disagreement, the bishop is always ready to throw up his hand and forsake the game.
Yes, and by trying that experiment twice, he has ascertained, beyond a doubt, that his royal pupil cannot endure his absence. You say he sighs for privacy, and abhors power, pomp, and station. Take my word for it, we shall yet live to see him cardinal and prime minister. Don't you think so, Demon?
My dear fellow, I have the vilest hand.
Never mind. You know the saying, who loses at play wins in love.
Maybe so, but in spite of the proverbs, I'm unlucky every way.
You must not say so just now, my dear Duke. I was coming to ask you to dance with me in the 3rd quadrille.
The 3rd? That's a long way off.
Oh, I'm engaged for the 2 first. Monsieur Dauvray, have the kindness to give your hand to the Duke de Richelieu. I have a word to say to you.
Here, Dauvray, give me your cards. When you come back, I promise you shall find Daumont beaten into good humour.
Sits down to play with Daumont. Dauvray, walking about with Madame de Valcourt.
I wait your commands, madam.
Presently. I do not wish to be overheard.
The devil! A secret conference.
Cry halt to your vain imaginations, for they are already on a wrong scent, I assure you. The matter is this. If you should happen to see the Chevalier d'Aubigny come in, that young lieutenant in the King's Guard, you know, Pray keep your eye upon him, for I suspect something like a duel is brewing between him and Monsieur de Richelieu.
Richelieu again? Upon my soul, he gives me more trouble than the whole French nobility put together. And what is this duel about?
I'm not quite sure, but whatever its origin may be, 'tis your duty, as lieutenant of my lords high marshals of France, to prevent it, sir. I have warned you, and your business is to be on your guard. And now be so good as to take me back into the ball-room, Chevalier, for our secret conference is ended.
Richelieu, showing a handful of money.
Here, D'Auvray, I am doing a capital business for you.
D'Auvray leading Madame de Valcourt into the ball-room.
Very well. Go on with it.
Exeunt.
I told you, D'Aumont, you oughtn't to play against me. You're sure to be beaten.
Double the stakes.
With all my heart.
Enter Daubigny. Daubigny, from the door,
At last.
comes slowly forward and stands opposite Richelieu.
Aha, Chevalier. So there you are at last.
Yes, my Lord Duke. Can I say 2 words to you?
The moment this deal is over, I'm at your service.
I can wait.
That's well. Send me over your money, D'Aumont. Thanks. Chamillac, take my place. It's a lucky one.
Getting up,
Now, sir.
Chamillac takes Richelieu's place.
I waited yesterday morning in the street till 4 o'clock to see your grace.
Very possibly, Chevalier. I left the palace by the park gate.
I have done myself the honour of waiting upon your grace 3 times today.
So I was informed, sir, to my great regret. But I presume you are aware that, as soon as I returned from hunting...
Yes, you were so good as to call at my lodging.
They bow to each other.
I presume, my Lord Duke, that it is unnecessary for me to state the motive of my importunity?
I rather think, Chevalier, I have some idea of it.
You understand, sir, of course, that when a man has attacked the honour of a woman whose father and brothers are prisoners in the Bastille...
D'Auvray comes in at the back and approaches them by degrees.
He is answerable to her lover. Upon my honour, nothing can be more obvious, my dear Chevalier, and I am entirely at your command.
I need not add that the real cause of our encounter must not be known.
The cause shall be the last comet, or the warm weather, or anything, in short, that may suit your fancy. Besides, I have no doubt we shall find accommodating seconds.
My Lord Duke, might it not be more accommodating to have none at all?
Oh, very well. You will take a walk, for instance, in some place agreed upon between us. I shall happen to be out at the same time, and chance to ramble in the same direction, so that, in point of fact, it will be an encounter, and no duel.
Your place, sir?
The nearer the palace, the better.
The avenue which leads to the wood, then?
Charming.
Your grace's time?
Name your own hour, my dear sir.
9 in the morning.
Agreed. The arms?
It is unnecessary to specify them. We are both gentlemen, and a gentleman's weapon is his sword. We go out as usual with our sword on, and excite nobody's curiosity or interference by so doing.
Excellent. Tomorrow, then, at 9 o'clock, in the avenue leading to the wood, and with no weapons but our swords.
Just so, my Lord Duke.
D'Auvray, touching them on the shoulder with a baton.
In the king's name, stand. You are hereby ordered to appear on the 8th day from the present before the high court of my lords marshals of France.
So overheard.
D'Auvray, the devil take you, my dear fellow. One really cannot have 3 words of comfortable difference in peace and quiet now, without conjuring up you and your staff of office.
Gentlemen both, you, Duke, and you, Chevalier, take notice, this is no jest. You are officially warned, and from this moment Your heads are between the axe and the block.
How confoundedly pleasant.
Give me therefore your word of honour, both of you, that until my lords marshals have determined the case, there shall be neither duel nor hostile encounter of any sort between you.
It's none of my business, Chevalier. Let Monsieur d'Auvigny give you his word, and then you shall have mine. Otherwise, I must inform you that I am bound to follow him if he pleases in this matter, even to the scaffold.
My lord Duke, I would take your life, but I would have taken it myself. Trials and judges are useless in our case, sir. The only judge between your grace and me must be God. Monsieur d'Auvray, I pledge my word to you.
That neither duel nor encounter shall take place between you.
Upon the honour of a gentleman.
Upon the honour of a peer.
Very good, gentlemen. Of course, I rely upon your word.
Goes and looks over the card-players. Servant entering.
A courier, at this moment arrived from Paris, desires to speak with the Duc d'Aumont immediately on his Majesty's business.
D'Aumont, getting up.
Gentlemen, will you excuse me?
The King's service first, my Lord Duke.
Exit D'Aumont, following the footman.
Really, Chevalier, I'm in despair about this bock.
Console yourself, my Lord Duke. I hope to find a remedy for it yet. Of course, you are aware that the matter could not blow over thus, and that I should not have given my word so easily unless I had found a better way of ending the whole business. And did your Grace really suppose that so short and easy an explanation had already satisfied me? If so, sir, you have done me yet another injury.
To tell you the truth, Chevalier, I was a little surprised at the readiness with which you acceded to Monsieur d'Auvray's proposal.
I should think your Grace might have understood it, however. The cause of our duel, my lord, cannot be dragged before a tribunal. Mademoiselle De Belle is already dishonoured enough, without the public disgrace of such discussions. But believe me, my Lord Duke, there are other ways of settling this quarrel.
Permit me to remind you, sir, that you have given your word of honour.
Not to fight, your Grace, that's all, but the man who means to be revenged of an insult, the man who has lost peace, happiness, everything in this life, the man who has sworn to kill his enemy, or be killed by him, that man, my Lord Duke, for one means that fails him has 1,000 others ready at his hand. All that he asks is, to find an adversary brave and loyal enough to allow that. To the man whom he has robbed of every hope, he has no right to refuse any satisfaction.
I flatter myself, sir, that you will find in me precisely such an adversary.
And therefore I gave my word, for I reckoned upon your Grace's courage.
You were quite right, my dear sir, and the devil take me if I back out from anything you propose.
Very good, sir. Here are dice. He that has the worst of 3 throws...
What then? It's like a game at forfeits.
...shall blow his brains out, my Lord Duke. That's a kind of duel my lords marshals take no cognizance of.
Ha, 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 ha. Upon my soul, do you know, that's a most ingenious contrivance of yours.
You hesitate, sir?
My dear fellow, it's the funniest notion I have ever heard of in all my life.
Your Grace refuses, then?
No, not precisely.
Have a care, my Lord Duke, this is the 2nd time that it has happened to your Grace.
What, sir?
To be arrested in the most convenient manner at the moment of receiving a challenge.
Well, sir?
So that it might be almost supposed that Monsieur d'Auvray was in the secret beforehand.
Oh, that won't be supposed now, for I accept the challenge.
Well said, my Lord Duke. I looked for nothing less from you.
Only, my good friend, I must beg for 6 hours' reprieve after the game, because, you see, if one doesn't happen to be a bastard, One has always a little business to attend to in such cases before one.
6 hours, so be it.
They sit down to the dice.
Charmed to have a throw with you.
Oh, Lord, what, you're dicing together now?
Yes, Dovray. Have you a mind to go half in my stake?
Yes, but where's your money?
We are playing on parole. Begin, my Lord Duke.
No, excuse me. Do you begin?
Chamillac, I bet 50 louis upon Richelieu.
Very good. I'll take you.
Come, gentlemen.
Since your grace insists upon it.
Throws.
5.
Richelieu throws.
8.
Come, I want my revenge.
Are they going on with it?
Yes.
It's you to begin, my Lord Duke.
I hope my beginning will bring you luck this time.
Throws.
9.
Daubigny to Chamillac.
You have no chance, Monsieur de Chamillac. I am sorry you betted on my side.
Throws.
11. That's better.
Quits, Dovray.
Do you mean to go on, Monsieur d'Aubigny?
Certainly, sir.
The same bet, Chamillac?
7.
7.
Nothing.
Shall we stop now, Chevalier?
This is my answer. 9.
11.
Daubigny, rising.
My Lord Duke, you have won.
There are your 50 louis, Dovray.
Chevalier, I do hope you are not in earnest.
And how dare you suppose any such thing, sir?
Because the thing's impossible.
If it had been impossible, sir, your grace would not have agreed to it.
Yes, but if I had lost...
If you had lost, my Lord Duke, you would have kept your word, as I shall keep mine.
For God's sake.
It is just morning, 3 o'clock. At 9, your grace, I shall pay you.
Exit. Richelieu following him.
Sir, you will do no such thing, or you are stark staring mad.
The rest of the characters go off gradually into the ballroom. Richelieu remains in front of the stage, walking about in great agitation.
He'll do it. Oh, he'll do it as he says it. There are certain men one need only look at once to know what stuff they are made of. Is there no way to prevent this horrid absurdity? To think that he'll go quietly home to his lodgings, and there, alone and in cold blood. Gad's life, it's worse than a murder. Youth, courage, a fine name, and in 6 hours to have his brains blown out by a pistol shot. And all for that infernal wager of mine that I wish to God I'd lost 100 times over. More particularly as devil take me if I know in the least how I won it after all. If that fellow shoots himself, he'll haunt me all my life. If I was only at Paris, I might get a lettre de cachet, and clap him into the Bastille. He would be safe enough there, unless he hung himself up to the window bars. But here, there's nothing to be done. Upon my soul, I shall go distracted.
Dumont coming down.
And upon my soul, I shall go distracted.
You? What about?
Why, about what's happening to me.
Is something happening to you too? Why, you seem quite upset. Agitated. My dear fellow, what's the matter?
Have you heard the news from Paris?
No.
Complete change of ministry. The Bishop of Fréjus at the head of the cabinet.
The bishop?
The bishop.
Ah. There. I said so. I told the Marchioness so not half an hour ago, and she pooh-poohed at it in the grandest style. What becomes of Monsieur de Belle?
Arrested.
Arrested? A prince of the blood royal?
Arrested nevertheless, But this is not all.
What? Something else?
I have received a letter from the king ordering the Marchioness to her estate, there to remain banished, in fact, till further notice.
Why do they write that to you?
Because, as captain of the king's guard, I am to have the honour of escorting her thither.
O Lord, poor Damon, what wilt thou do?
I must do as I am commanded. I take it.
Is any delay granted?
Not a minute. The express is not to return to Paris till he has seen us off.
Here, Damon, here comes the Marchioness to fetch you to dance with her.
I wish I was 100 feet underground.
Madame de Valcourt entering.
What are you about, Dumont? I am waiting for you.
Poor fellow. The question is not what he is doing, but what he will do. For I assure your ladyship, his mind is by no means made up.
What do you mean?
Madam, pray forgive me. I am most unfortunate. I am in despair.
Bless us! What's the matter with you?
My dear Marchioness, let what will happen depend upon me as your devoted friend, and use all my influence and interest, if, however, they are not going to the devil with your own.
My influence lost, my interest. What are you both talking about? Are you both mad?
Madam, the king may not be disobeyed.
Who thinks of disobeying his majesty?
Why, he does. Dumont does. If he only knew how. But he is compelled to execute the orders he has just received from court.
And what are they? For heaven's sake, Duke, speak.
Do not alarm yourself, madam. This loss of favour is probably only temporary.
Loss of favour? You will be the death of me, both of you, with your preparations. Come, I'm no coward. Speak out at once, do, and let me know what is the matter.
Enter Chevalier d'Auvray. D'Auvray to Richelieu.
I beg your pardon, my dear Duke, but I must trouble you for your sword.
Hallo.
D'Auvray, showing a letter.
The king's sign manual.
Prisoner.
You must go immediately to Paris, to give an account of yourself to the new powers that be.
Oh, for pity's sake, will nobody have the charity to tell me what all this means?
Why, my dear Marchioness, it means that your pious, humble, self-denying, meek, and all unworldly bishop is at the head of the government, that Dumont is at this moment in his pocket in order to escort you into banishment, and that the Duc de Bourbon is arrested.
Good God, my uncle!
Your uncle?
Your uncle?
Your uncle.
Oh, gentlemen, for heaven's sake, lose no time in useless exclamations. What is to be done? But can't I see my uncle?
Of what use were that, since he is arrested?
If I wrote to the king.
Your letter will be read by the bishop.
To the queen.
That indeed.
Oh, yes. She surely cannot have forgotten that I was the means of bringing her out of banishment to place her on the foremost throne of Europe. But who on earth will give my letter to her?
I will, my dear Marchioness. Depend upon me.
Oh, your grace stands by me in my need. Dumont, give me that pen and ink. My head spins round. I scarce know what I am writing.
Writes. The dancers gradually return. Richelieu snatching the paper from her.
Stop a bit. Is this your handwriting, madam?
Did not you see me write it? What do you mean?
What do I mean? Why, that if this is your handwriting, madam, this note and this petition are your handwriting also, and not Mademoiselle De Belle's. And if so, who was it that received me last night in her chamber, where I thought she was?
Sir!
Nay, madam, the truth. The truth. Lives as well as fortunes are in every minute that we waste now. Who was in that room last night?
Madame de Valcourt, rising.
Myself.
You?
Your Grace's humble servant, and your wife.
His wife?
His wife?
My wife.
Your wife.
Then I've lost my wager. That Mademoiselle De Belle was not in the room. Then Daubigny need not blow his brains out. My dear, dear madam, pray excuse me, but indeed, I am so overjoyed at having lost that cursed wager that I protest I am not half as much shocked by this news as might have been expected. Daumont, Doré, I owe you each 500 louis. For God, madam, I am more obliged to your ladyship for being my wife than words can express. But come, let us waste no time in useless exclamations. Since you are my wife, madam, give me your hand, and to Paris instantly, to throw ourselves at the king's feet. For unless I can be back here in less than 6 hours, the bravest young fellow in France will have blown his brains out.
Good God! What do you mean?
Excellent company. Strange accidents, you see, have occurred to us. Some of us have fallen into disgrace, and some into matrimony. 'Tis little more than 3 in the morning yet. I shall be back here in 6 hours, if horses' legs may do it, and hope to find the ballroom not yet empty, and the supper-room still full. Come, madam, my dear Marchioness, Duchess, I mean, reserve all further particulars for the road, for I tell you, if that young man's death is to lie at my door, I will never forgive you, or my
Act 5 of Mademoiselle de Belle by Alexandre Dumas, translated by Francis N. Campbell, 1809 to 1893. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Act 5, Scene 1. Mademoiselle de Belle's room. Mademoiselle de Belle and a footman.
You are sure you remember who I mean? Monsieur d'Aubigny, the young officer who called here yesterday and the day before.
I know perfectly who you mean, madam.
Mademoiselle de Belle, sealing a letter.
Well, you must find him immediately. It is quite early yet, hardly 7 o'clock. He will certainly not have left his lodging. Give him this note, and bring him with you hither directly. I must speak to him immediately. Before you go, send Mariette to me.
Mariette left the palace last night with her ladyship.
The Marchioness left the palace, you say?
Last night, madam. Her ladyship went away with the Duc de Richelieu before the ball was over.
But she will come back. She is coming back today?
I do not know, madam, but if you please, I can inquire.
Yes, pray do. But first of all take that letter, for it is immediate.
Exit servant.
What can be happening? Yesterday she sent me word that she could not receive me. This morning she has left the palace. Not a word from d'Aubigny. I cannot conceive what is going on.
Daubigny in the anteroom.
Can I see Mademoiselle de Belle?
Oh, yes, Henry. Come in. Come in. I had just written to you. I was expecting you every moment, and yet almost feared that you would not come.
It is an unforeseen circumstance, indeed, that brings me.
No matter what. You are most welcome. Oh, I am so glad to see you again.
I have come to ask a service of you.
A service of me? Oh, speak.
Gabrielle, I have no one in the world but you. My mother died in giving me birth. My father fell at the Battle of Denain. I have no relations, no friends.
No friends?
I do not know, therefore, to whom I can confide a trust of some importance unless you will take charge of it for me.
What trust?
Papers that concern my fortune and estate.
And why do you not keep them in your own possession?
Because I am going away, Gabrielle.
Away?
Yes, I am going to leave you, and when absence once begins, God alone can tell how long it lasts.
Henry.
I do not wish to alarm you, but who can foresee what time may have in store for him? Assuredly, had anyone foretold me of the events of the last 3 days, I had not credited them, but I must endeavour to be no more surprised by misfortune. I shall not, therefore, escape from it, I know, but it shall henceforth find me prepared for it, expecting it.
I have not interrupted you, Henry, though every word you have uttered has been a dagger to my heart. Go on, then, since you do not fear to wound me. Go on, I listen to you most attentively.
Oh, believe me, it costs me much to give you a moment's pain. But what I have to say is most important, and once said, it will be said forever.
Go on.
The hour of parting has brought with it solemn thoughts of the countless chances of this weary life. Perhaps I shall see you no more again, and I cannot leave you without entreating your forgiveness for my intemperate anger yesterday. Alas, one cannot calmly tear from one's heart a hope that had been its life's blood for 4 years, for I have loved you thus long, longer. I cannot remember when I loved you not, but I have feared that if I did not return, in short, if I were to die without seeing you once again, you might imagine that I had died with a heart embittered against you, and this might have caused you anguish and remorse. Therefore, Gabrielle, I am come to bid you farewell, no longer, alas, as a lover leaving his betrothed, but as a brother parting from a sister.
Oh, you are pitiless, pitiless, and you will surely rue one day the torture you are inflicting on me now.
And yet, 'tis but the desire that your happiness, if you can yet be happy, may not be disturbed by thoughts of my despair, that prompts me at this moment. Had it been better to leave you in the belief that I hated and cursed you, when in truth I had forgiven you?
Forgiven me?
Yes, forgiven you, and it is but very lately that my heart has found the strength to do so, but heaven has taken pity on me. The best part of this night I have passed within the sacred walls of a church, for we may, and alas, do forget God in our senseless hours of joy and happy hope. But when joy and happiness are torn from us forever, God still remains to us. And then, yes, then, we remember him. We seek him. I had forgotten him, for my heart was filled with but one thought, and that was you. You. But last night, in the bitter anguish of my soul, I thought on him, or rather, he mercifully thought on me. I spent 2 hours prostrate before the altar, weeping and praying. Oh, Gabrielle, Gabrielle, God grant that you may never feel such desperate need of prayers, of tears, and of his holy sanctuary.
He is mad.
No, no longer mad. I was mad, but I have recovered my senses. For from that church I turned home, calm and resigned at least, if not consoled. Since then I have put all in order for my departure, and I have come to confide these papers to you. If I return, you shall give them back to me. If I do not return, then open them, and let me beseech you to fulfill the last entreaties that you will find in them. And now, farewell, Gabrielle.
Good heavens! Where is Madame de Valcourt?
Will you not say farewell, Gabrielle?
Henry, you shall not leave me.
I must.
Because you believe me guilty. But listen, listen, I swear to you by my mother's soul, by my father's promised freedom, by your life, oh, dearer 1,000 times than my own, that I am innocent.
I have heard those oaths before, and remember too, I heard the Duke.
You heard him. Well, in spite of his assurance, which surpassed belief, 'twas false, all false. He either lied with wicked and determined purpose, or, like myself, was dupe of some infamous stratagem. Oh, hear me, Henry.
Well?
Heaven forgive me. I am committing a sin in speaking this, for I have sworn. But that night, when Monsieur de Richelieu maintains that I received him here, I was not in the palace.
You were not in the palace?
No. I left it at 10 o'clock that night, and only returned to it at 5 the next morning.
But, in the name of heaven, where were you then?
That Madame de Valcourt alone can authorize me to reveal. I have already broken half my solemn promise in telling you thus much. Remember that. Have mercy on me, Henry, and urge me no further now, for I have suffered such anguish since yesterday that only to keep you here I might be tempted to utter all in spite of a most sacred oath.
Absent from the palace the whole night! Good God!
I have said it. Now grant me but this, and if the expectation I hold out to you prove false, then, Henry, kill me. Or worse 1,000 times, forsake and despise me forever. Wait, only wait till I can bring you to Madame de Valcourt, and at her feet I will implore her to tell you all, and free me from these dreadful suspicions.
Madame de Valcourt? Madame de Valcourt, you know that you will not see her again, that she is gone beyond your reach.
How?
Madame de Valcourt is gone.
Gone?
Banished to her estate.
Banished?
The Duc de Bourbon has involved her in his ruin. But why do I dwell on these circumstances, which must be as well known to you as to myself?
The Duc de Bourbon is no longer Prime Minister?
No, Gabrielle, and your father is free.
The Duc de Bourbon is no longer minister.
He resigned yesterday at noon.
True. True. Is it true, Henry? Speak. Speak.
What matters it?
Answer me, I say, upon your sacred honor. Is it true that the Duc de Bourbon is no longer minister?
It is true.
Then I may tell you all. Then I am freed from my oath. Then, oh, Henry, we are saved. That night, oh, heaven be praised. Oh, heaven be thanked, we are delivered. I cannot speak, I am choking.
Good heavens, speak, speak for pity's sake.
That night, by favour of an order from Madame de Valcourt, and in her carriage, I left the palace. That night in which, unfortunate, thou believedst I had deceived thy love and blasted all our hopes. That night I passed in my father's arms. My father, whom I had not seen for 3 wretched years of dreary imprisonment. If you doubt me, Henry, he, my father himself, shall swear to you on his white hairs that I speak the truth.
Be silent, oh, be silent.
This was the cause of my confusion. This was why, for the first, the only time in my life, I urged you to leave me, without being able to assign the real motive for my doing so. I had sworn to the Marchioness, who gave me that order unknown to Monsieur de Bourbon, that as long as he continued minister I would keep that secret, which once known might have caused her ruin and the death of my father. 10 minutes after you had left my room I was gone from it, and had but just returned to it when you came the next morning. Now, 'tis you who are the guilty one, and I the judge. For remember, oh, remember what withering words you have uttered to me, to your own Gabrielle. Oh, when you had left me in scorn and dreadful anger, when I found myself alone, far from my father, and forsaken by you, I thought God had forsaken me too, and that I had nothing left but to die.
Gabrielle! Gabrielle!
Yes, to die. For since all means of justifying myself seemed denied to me while living, perhaps you would have believed my death. Then, Henry, you would have said, since she has died because I left her, she loved me, and if she loved me she could not thus deceive me. Now, will you forgive me? Or shall I forgive you? Oh, no, neither. Let us forget the bitter past. The future is all our own. The future in 2 blessed words. I love you, dearest. Do you love me still?
Hush, hush, and yet tell me, for my benumbed senses seem rushing back suddenly to life. Since you were not here, since you were at Paris, every word that villain uttered was false. He lied, that duke, that base, that infamous traducer.
Looks at the clock.
O God, but half an hour to find him and tear his heart out! Half an hour! One short half hour!
Rushes to the door. She stops him.
Henry, what means this? I stand here before you. I tell you that I am innocent. I prove it to you. I tell you again that I love you, oh, most dearly. And instead of answering me, of thinking of me, you speak of nothing but that man. Forget his folly, and despise his calumnies. Let us think now of nothing but my father's restored liberty. Let us return home again to Brittany, to happiness.
Happiness, Gabrielle, happiness? Oh, it is now your turn to hear a fatal secret.
What? Good heavens!
No, no, leave me. Let me go. Let me go. Let me find him. I will find him before my time expires.
Henry, you shall not leave this room. I know not what you mean, or what you seek to do, but you shall only cross the threshold of this door over my body, and if you attempt to force me from it, I will raise the house with cries for help.
To die now, thus, at such a moment, assassinated by that villain, impossible!
What horrible words are those?
Oh, Gabrielle, come to my arms once more, for the last time, lay that dear head upon my heart. So now, tell me again thou lovest me. Angel, repeat it to me in this moment of despair. Dolt, idiot that I was to doubt thee! I should have doubted myself, my eyes, everything but thee. But stung with the thought of thy treachery, racked with the bitter thought of having thee torn from me, I became mad. Alas, if thou hadst believed me perjured and forsworn, thou wouldst have died forgiving me, because thou art a woman, an angel of pity and forgiveness. But I hungered for vengeance. I thirsted for thy betrayer's blood. I ought not, perhaps, to tell thee this dreadful thing, but all strength and self-command have left me. I met him, challenged him. We were to fight.
Heavens!
We were arrested. We passed our word of honor not to fight. No means remained of encountering him but dragging before a tribunal the cause of our quarrel. That cause was thy dishonor, Gabrielle. Thou wert lost, or my injury unrequited. Then, dice lay at hand, the devil prompted me, and I challenged him to play his life against mine at hazard. He accepted, for he is brave. We threw, and I lost.
Ah! Now I see it all. Your return hither was but to leave me forever. That absence was death. You were to die for me. For me. Oh, but you forget I am not guilty. You wanted to die because you thought me guilty. You know now I am not guilty. I love you still. I have loved you ever. Die! Die! You die! Oh, my God, that fatal man! Why did he ever cross my path?
Do you not see that I must murder him?
You shall not leave me, Henry. I will cling to you. You shall not move.
And yet there is no other way. If he were dead, no human being knows of what passed between us. None know that this very day, this very hour, in a few short minutes, I had sworn to blow my brains out. Oh, Gabrielle, help me, see whither my love for thee has led me. I speak the words of baseness, I think the thoughts of cowardice. See how I love thee, since I can contemplate dishonor rather than thy loss.
Love, yes, thou hast love, but no pity. Unclasp thy arms. Not on thy heart, but at thy feet is now my place. Oh, wert thou thus in anguish to cast thyself down before me, fame, honor, life, all would be thine. Whilst thou canst see me thus embrace thy feet, and give but half thy soul to love, the rest to pride and vengeance. How can I help thee? Let me go to that wicked, cruel man. I will implore him to spare thee, to spare us both. Oh, Henry, my heart is bursting, my senses are forsaking me. Have mercy on me, Henry. Mercy, mercy.
Courage, beloved one. Oh, heaven, you tear my heartstrings.
Courage to see thee die? Never, never. But to die with thee, yes, now, this instant, since it must be so. At least at least together. Hush! Hush, listen! 'Tis his voice! 'Tis the voice of the Duke!
Great God be thanked! Thy justice leads him hither. Now, Gabrielle, now do for me today what I did yesterday for you. Into that room.
No, no, I will not leave you.
Then by heaven I will murder him at your feet.
I will go, Henry, I will. But in the name of heaven.
Go, 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 and leave me, quick.
Mademoiselle de Belle goes into the room. Richelieu outside.
Go to the devil, fellow. I tell you he is here, and I must and will speak to him.
Rushes in. Daubigny seizes him.
At length you are in my grasp.
And you in mine. And a pretty fright I have had of it, lest I should come too late.
My Lord Duke, you have lied.
My dear friend, I know it, and I have galloped 30 miles, without drawing rein, to tell you so. And I would have told you so 6 hours ago, but that I was arrested and carried to Paris, where, fortunately, a justification of 3 words satisfied His Majesty, and thank God I do not arrive too late.
What is the meaning, sir?
Mademoiselle de Belle comes forward.
The meaning, sir, is this, that if you do not receive my heartfelt apologies, if you will not and cannot forgive me, I never will forgive myself for this most painful affair. I have been, all along, the dupe of this strangest accident, believing most firmly myself what I asserted, at the same time that it was utterly false. The cause of this strange mistake, and herself the most innocent accomplice of my delusion, is here. My wife, Madame de Richelieu.
Enter Madame de Valcourt and the Abbé.
I acknowledge, sir, that Mademoiselle de Belle is the purest angel that ever trod this earth in the shape of woman, and I entreat permission to throw myself at her feet and implore her pardon, for I have insulted her most grossly and most undeservedly, and I repent having done so, as a man should repent an unworthy and shameful action. Are you satisfied, Chevalier? Is there yet any further reparation that I can make?
Enough, enough, my Lord Duke. You have a noble heart, sir, and you have proved it nobly. Oh, madame.
My dear Chevalier, when I tell you that I was in your Gabrielle's chamber during her absence at Paris, this fatal mystery will all be solved.
Oh, heaven be praised for this respite from despair! My Lord Duke, your hand! You are a brave and honourable man.
Halt, my dear fellow. It's evident you don't count modesty among my virtues, and yet I have, a little. But here is the beacon, whose light shall henceforth point to every virtue that is wanting in my list.
Your Grace's reformation?
Is a miracle, my dear Abbé. But it was wrought by 2, and here they are, the paragon of maids and wives. And now have all prepared in the chapel, without loss of time, for the solemnization of these 2 happy marriages.
2?
Yes, madam, if you please. My own unworthiness has divorced me from you hitherto, far more effectually than death ever could have done. The presumptuous folly of my youth rejected you in a treasure, of which my riper judgment owns the worth. Our former union was devised by others, and suggested by expediency. Our present one is chosen by ourselves, and on one side at least prompted by love, esteem, and admiration.
Oh, my dear, dear Abbé, am I not well rewarded? And as for your Grace's sentiments, I am willing to believe they make up in vivacity what they want in duration. Now, as for me, my dear Duke, since we are come to the closing chapter of confessions, though I may have felt little admiration and less esteem for your conduct during some periods of my acquaintance with you, I have loved you with the most persevering patience every minute of the last 6 years.
So now to Mary, and then to Brittany, where Mademoiselle, your father, whom the change of ministry has liberated, will meet you. And should the time which must elapse before you are again in his arms prove tedious,
we will enliven it by carefully elucidating all the obscure effects relative to
The Duke's Wager.
End of Act 5.